I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job.
We knew President Trump would have a difficult equation with Ukraine, but this bad, I don't think anyone predicted it. Here is a list of things that Trump has said about Zelensky, and I'm just counting the last 2 days. A dictator without election, a terrible leader, and a modestly successful comedian. This is not criticism. This is an all-out attack, and Zelensky will be haunted by it. Last year, he was dealing with good old Joe Biden. No criticism, no questions, no insults. But Trump is unleashing on him. He is effectively blaming Ukraine for starting the war. Listen to the contrast.
This guy has to his very soul is who he says he is. It's clear who he is. He's willing to give his life for his country. And all the folks that came with him today.
A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. Got to move fast, because I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions of people have unnecessarily died.
And there's no let-up. Trump's allies and advisors are also joining in. Look at Elon Musk's post. He says Ukrainians despise Zelensky. He also pulled out an old Vogue photo shoot. Musk says Zelensky was clicking pictures while Ukrainians were getting killed. Trump's national security advisor also trained his guns. He had 2 messages for Zelensky. First, Trump is losing patience with you. And second, sign the mineral deal. Listen in.
Look, President Trump is obviously very frustrated right now with President Zelensky. The fact that he hasn't come to the table. Our own Secretary of Treasury personally made the trip to offer the Ukrainians what can only be described as a historic opportunity. That is for America to co-invest with Ukraine in their minerals, in their resources, to truly grow the pie. Rather than enter into some constructive conversations about what that deal should be going forward, we got a lot of rhetoric in the media that was incredibly unfortunate.
And what deal is that? Trump had earlier proposed a barter. Ukraine gives up its $1 trillion mineral wealth, specifically 50% of it. And what will they get in return? Well, that part does not have a lot of clarity. Some reports say Trump promised military aid. Others say it is compensation for the aid already given. And a few reports also say it is for U.S. security guarantees, basically a post-war commitment. Trump officials met Zelensky in Munich to discuss this plan. They say he agreed to sign it, but later in public, Zelensky said no. He said the deal does not serve Ukraine's interests. Yet, Trump is not giving up. He is putting pressure on Ukraine at global forums as well. Monday marks 3 years of Russia's invasion. And to mark it, countries are drafting a UN General Assembly resolution. Around 50 countries, they're co-sponsoring this resolution, but reports say that the US has refused so far. Why? Because the resolution condemns Russian aggression. Washington is doing the same at the G7, the group of 7. They're planning a call on Monday, but there is no consensus on the joint statement. Again, the issue is the use of the term Russian aggression. Reports say Trump wants it removed from the draft. He's also considering sanctions relief for Russia. All these actions raise a couple of questions. Number one, why is Trump attacking Ukraine? I mean, it's one thing to push for a peace deal. It's entirely different to put the blame on Zelensky. And number two, how is Zelensky responding? Some Trump allies see a method to the madness. They say it is a pressure tactic, that Trump is looking to shock the Europeans into action. And if that's the idea, it has worked partially. Europe has held 2 emergency summits. A few countries have also agreed to deploy soldiers in Ukraine. It could also be a tactic to arm twist Kiev, both for peace talks and for the mineral deal. Right now, Zelensky is saying no to both. But if he sees Trump cutting a deal with Putin, he may change his stance. He may agree to come to the table. That's a possible logical explanation to Trump's attacks. Or maybe he just does not like Zelensky. You see, Trump and Zelensky share a tricky past. In 2019, both of them had an official phone call. And during this call, Trump asked Zelensky to investigate Hunter Biden, the son of Joe Biden. Hunter had some business dealings in Ukraine, so Trump, who was president then, he wanted to get some dirt on Hunter Biden. But the whole thing backfired, and Trump ended up being impeached for that call. It was seen as abuse of power. Once he left office, things became worse. Trump kept saying that he could end the war in 24 hours. Zelensky clapped back. He said Trump does not understand the conflict. So my point is, there is enough bad blood here, certainly enough for a classic Trump revenge story. Which brings us to our second question. How is Zelensky reacting to all of this? He hosted Trump's special envoy yesterday. His name is Keith Kellogg. Zelensky and Kellogg were slated to hold a press conference, but they cancelled it at the last moment. In public, Zelensky is still hopeful, though. He says Ukraine needs strong agreements with the US.
We need strong agreements with the United States, agreements that will truly work. I gave instructions to work swiftly and very sensibly. Economy and security must always go hand in hand, and the details of the agreements matter. The better they are structured, the greater the results.
Now, it's not clear what Zelensky told Kellogg. Did he agree to the mineral deal? Did he offer a counter deal? Or did he reject it again? We'll know once Kellogg is back in America. But whatever happens, one thing is quite clear. Zelensky does not have a friend in the White House. In fact, he's pretty close to having an enemy.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.